too far. Jeez.
So here's the thing.
That's so sad.
We gotta walk this back for a second here.
Okay.
All of that did not happen because you upbeat on stage. I had to do a lot of things right for that to happen, and that's why I feel like a lot of players get scared of taking risks, because I think that's gonna happen every time. So I'm not gonna say for a single second that what you did was the right thing to do as far as like going for the down tilt and to upbeat. Like if you hit me, then that's great, but if you miss, don't ever think like that is gonna happen every time, because I also had a lot of untrue stuff happen on the right side, so I don't want to shatter your reality to be like, that's why I don't take risks right there. All right, so that's like it would be more so a good play on my part versus a bad play on your part. Let's put it that way. And you can do the same thing to somebody else too.
Yeah.
Right? All right, let's keep going. This is a question. I feel like this is a question that I don't even know how I want to phrase this. Like I have a couple different ways of explaining how this is. I want to break down some examples, because there's two parts to this: making reads and also just having confidence in taking a risk. I feel like that's really more so what it is. It's not only going for a read, but it's having confidence in making a risk, because that's why people don't go for reads, because they're afraid of taking the risk and being wrong. So it's almost a preface to confidence in the read is more so confidence in taking a risk and being willing to suffer the consequences of if they happen to be wrong. Because of course, with high risk, typically, in most cases, the point of a high risk play is a high reward play. You don't want to go for something that is high risk, low reward, because it's just pointless and you're going to get yourself killed for no real reason. I would say the way that I think of going for a high risk play, whether or not it's necessary or not, the number one thing I'll look for as far as going for a high risk play is, do I have the stocks or the percent that I'm willing to lose or gamble with, provided that this goes wrong? And that sounds like it might be kind of extreme, but as far as if it's a high risk play, you might lose a stock if you're wrong. If it's a high risk play, you might take 60% if you're wrong. However, if you're up a whole stock, or if you're at 0% and they're at 95 or 100 or something like that, and you go for this high risk play, of course, if you go for a high risk play and you could die at 0, then I wouldn't recommend that. But if it's like, I can go for a high risk play that could get me a kill, or if I mess it up, I could get grabbed. I just did it. Oof. And that's one of those things too, the risk of me missing that. If I happen to miss and you just get around me for free, there's a chance that you get to the ledge and then you could have gone for like a soft nair and killed me, or you could have ledge trapped me too, right?
Yeah.
That's something I'd be willing to go for. I'll say something more like going for an F smash. If you F smash somebody while you are at 0, very strong chance that you're not going to just die. The only chance, well, it depends on the character you're fighting against. If it's Kazuya or Luigi, you might die if you're wrong. But that is very, very specific. I would say more so that a high risk play, like let's say if you're going to make a read on a roll, the high risk play would be like, let's say, turn around with an F smash or like a strong sort of, I don't know, dash back, up smash, back air, something that might potentially get you a kill, but if you miss, you're way out of position or has a lot of lag. The less risky thing to go for in the situation would be like turning around with a forward tilt. If you have I don't know, a Zaire, something that's like some sort of Sheik Needles, Falco laser, like very low risk, but also very low reward. So, like I said before, the number one thing for sure, to make sure that you're in a state where it makes sense for you to, if you happen to be wrong for this read, it doesn't ruin your game for you. There are some situations though where it is a high risk and a high reward, and you are at a high percent. There are situations where you are in a high risk situation and it could be a high reward, but you yourself are like, let's say, last stock, last hit. And that's where people start to get very scared, where it's like, okay, I could go for this read and I could be right and I could win, but also I could lose. So here's my philosophy on that is, if you believe that you genuinely do have a read, there's a very strong chance that you actually do have the read and you have to believe or trust yourself, versus saying, I'm going to just go for something and hope that I win. That's not a read. That's just high risk for no reason. I'm going to just dash back an F smash on the off chance that they lunge at me with a grab, or they roll in, or something dumb. They're just going to do it for no reason. If you decide that that's what your read is, then I wouldn't say that you have a read. A read is something that's going to be, I guess, defined throughout the entire game, where it's like, okay, every time I have them at the ledge, if I down tilt the ledge, they roll on stage. If they do that multiple times throughout the game, then you could say, yes, I have a read on the fact that they are probably going to roll on stage if I down tilt the ledge. So you can go down tilt, dash back, up smash, and win the game. If you don't believe, you might go down tilt out the ledge and then shield. Even though you had the read and they rolled past your shield or through your shield, you didn't win because you're afraid of dashing back and up smashing and having them, let's say, fair on stage or neutral get up on stage and then grab you or something. In a lot of cases, here's another thing too with regards to reads. Reads are, I guess, the counterpart to reacting. If you have a read on something, it's essentially saying rock, paper, scissors. It is rock, paper, scissors, and on shoot, if you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, you're wrong. You can't change your mind halfway through and get a different outcome. So if you go down tilt, dash back, up smash, as they're rolling, they're dead. They can't get out of the situation. That being said, if you do down tilt, dash back, up smash, and they do neutral get up, as you're going for your up smash, they're doing neutral get up at the exact same time. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to be able to get to you and punish you so hard that you could die for going for that. Certain characters could. I will say, for example, if you're fighting a character like Incineroar or Charizard, where they could just jump onto the stage, side B, and just kill you, it's like, all right. Or if it's like Megawatt Arm from Min from the ledge because you dash back for up smash and you're completely wrong, they have the range and the speed to get there, they can just kill you. But a normal character typically can't do that. If you're afraid of getting like jump faired from Roy from the ledge, he's not going to kill you with that. Or if it's, I don't know, Pikachu's going to quick attack or jump on stage and fair, or even Fox, like neutral get up, dash across the stage, or dash to roll distance and up smash you is not going to happen. He's not going to get there before you finish your attack because, like I said, it is a read. Even if they react, let's say they hang on ledge, they let you dash back and go for your up smash. If they're still hanging on ledge, there's no possible chance they can get up, go across the stage, up smash you before you can shield or do anything. If you go for an up smash and then you panic, let's say you spot dodge, or I don't know, you throw another up smash or something like that, then yes, they could punish you for that, but that's no longer a read. You're now in panic mode. I think the biggest thing, this is probably one of the biggest things with regards to getting reads as well, is a lot of players, and this is not even like, this is just facts at this point, just based on how many people I've coached over the years. A lot of players genuinely don't pay attention to what's happening in the game. If you want to take anything away from this video at all, as far as leveling up your play and making reads, take the time to care about what you're doing while you're playing, and take the time to pay attention to what's happening on screen. You're clearly looking at the screen. You clearly know that you're in the moment of playing in a set, whether it's a money match or a tournament set. You know what is going on. And of course, there's a lot of things to track. If something goes over your head as far as conditioning and you weren't prepared for something, that's different. But to say that you're going to go out of your way, or maybe not out of your way, but let's say you indirectly are going out of your way to not remember what's going on, that really hurts you as a player. Because going from game 1 to game 2, if one person pays attention and the other person doesn't, even if the person that doesn't pay attention on the first game won the first game, the person that lost can adjust and make reads and get a 2-0 or 3-0 reversal and win the entire set. All it takes is paying attention. I feel like if you were to say to yourself that you feel like you have to memorize everything since the beginning of time and that's why you have a hard time doing it, then that's different. But you should have that, try your best to have a short-term memory that is very powerful with regards to remembering your sets or your interactions, and try to make reads off of that. One of the ways that I think of it too is when you go into a set, or even actually if you go into a game, with regards to making reads, sometimes you have to give your opponent propositions during the game, kind of like how you do with your friends. And I'm sure you guys have done this, or someone said to you like, oh, if, I don't know, what would you do if X happened? What would you do if 1,000 ninjas just showed up and the ground lit on fire? What would you do? Just some stupid situation like that. Or if a better one yet is when girls will say to you, if I lost a leg, would you still love me? Something like that, where it's just like, here's a proposition, figure it out right now. And you can do that situation to your opponent all the time. If I just dash back and up smash, what would you do? If I just jump fair at the ledge, what would you do? Sometimes they don't know. Sometimes you catch people off guard. And that is setting up the proposition to say, okay, if I just jump fair at the ledge and I catch them, there's a chance that they don't know how to deal with this. And this is me taking a risk because no one said jump fair. But now I can use this to mold or sculpt the rest of the entire game. Because if I keep going jump fair, jump fair, jump fair at the ledge, and they keep jumping into it, they're going to lose. Or if I say, okay, I'm going to jump fair at the ledge, and the answer to the question, what would you do, is roll. Next time I'm not going to go jump fair and like push all the way off the stage. I'm going to jump fair, fade back, then up smash or down smash or pivot grab or side B or something. And this is something that I feel like a lot of players are afraid to do, where it's like, I'm not going to take any risks whatsoever because I don't even want to give someone the opportunity to answer my question properly. This is where you're not testing your opponent at all. I genuinely feel like you do have to test your opponent and say, okay, like as Falco, one thing I'll do all the time, is I will walk up to somebody and I will flicker my shield to try and get a parry. But if I'm doing that, you can just grab. You can just go ahead and grab me, right? If I'm just walking up to you and going for parries, if I do that, I'm basically saying, I'm approaching you, I'm going to flicker shield, what are you going to do? And if the answer is I'm going to stay in shield the entire time because I don't know what's going to happen, then I'm not going to abuse the fact that you don't know what to do. And I can say right now that going up to someone and flickering your shield is a huge risk to do, because if they grab you and they have a kill throw, they can just kill you for free, right? The idea is that I'm getting you to panic and figure something out on the spot, kind of like the 1,000 ninjas just showed up and the ground's on fire. What are you going to do about it? I'm approaching you and you're about to be killed or down tilted or up tilt back or something. Figure this out. If you don't figure it out, I'm going to win. I'm proposing an idea to you and making you figure it out, right? You could do this exact same thing. And I feel like a lot of players don't do this, not even from like game to game, but they don't do it at all. Higher level players absolutely do this. I remember this one player, he was a Steve player that I coached, and I think he went minecart, IDJ fair, up smash. And it didn't work. If I throw up minecart and go IDJ fair, up smash all at once, are you prepared for this? And at the moment, yes, I was luckily prepared. Because as soon as I saw it, it's like, okay, if this happens, I'm not going to mash out a minecart. And this is just experience from playing against that matchup to say, if you mash out a minecart and they're right on top of you, they're going to try and do something like that. So the proposition at the time was, if I get you into minecart, are you prepared to not panic? And for me, the answer was yes. But had he never done that, I could have been jumping at him or running at him the entire time and felt no fear of the minecart or potentially getting minecart IDJ fair into up smash. These are the types of things you should be throwing out for yourself. Maybe not that's a very extravagant situation, but something a little bit more realistic for your character. I'll say someone like Martha Lucina. If you're a player who plays Martha Lucina and you never use shield breaker, for example, just single tap shield breaker, not even like fully charged at the ledge like you're trying to break their shield for real or get a kill with it, just shield breaker in neutral, shield breaker after a tech chase, shield like full hop shield breaker while they're on a platform in shield. Be like, if I'm gonna use shield breaker, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna try and parry this? Are you gonna take the hit? Are you gonna stay scared in shield and try and shield the whole thing and hopefully not have your shield break? Because this is one of those things too, as far as taking a risk. If you go for shield breaker and they are prepared and just jump over it and they punish you, at least now you know, right? But if they aren't prepared and they stay in shield, you could be potentially throwing away the game because you're not using it. You're too afraid to take the risk of a charging move or a long-lasting move. It's not really long-lasting as far as end leg, but it takes a long time to actually get to the point of breaking a shield. So if you're not using it, your opponent can absolutely abuse shield. They can absolutely abuse the fact that your shield pressure or your corner pressure is not that devastating. So they're going to shield more and potentially get grabs out of shield or roll out of shield and get away from you, get back into the middle of the stage by rolling in, right? If you're not going for like shield break setups or trying to catch them for shielding a lot. And like I said, these should be things for sure. Depending on the character that you use, you should be using this stuff a lot, or you should be using that sort of approach a lot. I'm trying to think of another example. I'll say someone like Pyra. We'll say Pyra. Someone like Pyra. If you play Pyra Mithra, but if you specifically as Pyra, if you never use Flame Nova, if you never use Flame Nova, you have no idea how your opponent could potentially react to it. I've gotten so many kills with Flame Nova because I'm like, you know what? What if I just landed with Flame Nova? What would you do if I just landed on top of you with Flame Nova? A lot of players have no clue what to do. It's like, oh, okay, well, I know this could potentially break my shield or kill me, so I'm just going to stay in shield, or I'm going to move out of the way completely. Both those things are great for me. I'm either going to, or multiple things are great for me. I'm either going to land on them and potentially break their shield, land on them and hit them and kill them, or they're just going to move out of the way completely, and now I get a chance to just land for free. All because I just said to this person as a proposition, what if I just did this? And I don't have a read based on anything prior to playing them before. Sometimes I'll do this during coaching as well. And I'm going to have 2 sessions tonight with Flame Nova. We'll use that as our example. If I go for Flame Nova to land, you can absolutely punish that move. Absolutely. Everything in the game can be punished. However, you got to test your opponent. Basically poke at them and say, hey, are you ready for this? Because if you're not, you could lose because of this. In my opinion, I feel like that is probably one of the biggest things with regards to having confidence in your reads. A lot of players, they're too afraid to be wrong. I've talked about this before in sessions as well. Don't be afraid to confidently make a mistake. I'd rather be confidently wrong than luckily right. If it's just like, oh, hopefully this works for no reason, it's like, no, you don't ever want to have that going into the game. If something goes in your favor for no reason, it's pure luck, then that's great. But I'd rather say I jumped off stage with the intent to try and actually get a edge guard, or I'm trying to, like, let's say, get a parry into back air or something, some sort of aggressive play. And if it doesn't work well, it's because my execution was wrong or my judgment was off. is what it is. But to just never do that stuff is devastating to your play, 100%. I would say you have to be willing to figure out the answer to a lot of things. I feel like a lot of players don't want to, they're afraid of venturing into the unknown because it is unknown. What if I just do jump, double-edge dance from the ledge like Cola, and I just get a kill across the entire stage? If someone's not prepared for that, then you can just kill them, right? But don't ever just assume, oh, they know I'm going to do this. They're just going to shield, then they're going to up smash me and kill me. It's like, but if you've never done this, there's no reason for them to believe that that would just happen, right? So sometimes you got to just test people. Here's the thing too, Street Legal, is that you can condition people, at least this is the way I think of it too. You can condition your opponent for a certain option, but once you get to become a more experienced player, you should be conditioning your opponent to fall into multiple different options. So same thing happens for me, is I don't ever think to myself, okay, I'm going to put all my eggs in one basket and try and get a read on a roll in from the ledge. I'm going to try and look for roll ins everywhere, or holding shield too long, or air dodging up high, or multi-jab on shield, or spot dodging after certain attacks, or dashing in with a tilt then running away. I'm looking for all these things. So the more that you're able to, I guess, remember and process and propose to your opponent and say, here, what if I just did this? What if I just did this? The more situations you can manage at once, of course, the more experience or the better player you'll be. But yeah, I would say that's the main goal. I feel like a lot of players, when they try to, this is, I guess, the back end of things. A lot of players, when they try to set up reads, they get laser focused on one situation. Like, let's say if you play Joker, I want to get a read on your roll in so I can land fair one. And you'll see if Jokers just start to like dash towards you, jump back, fair one, dash towards you, jump back, fair one. And at this point, you've shown your hand way too much. So what you should have done is say, I'm going to condition you to roll in so I can get a fair one. But if you see me go for a fair one and you don't roll in, I'm now going to have you be scared into staying in shield so I can go, like, let's say dash back or jump back, landing fair one, into dash grab. Or, like, let's say if you happen to jump out of shield, I'll do jump back, landing fair one, jump rar back air, or jump nair, or jump fair, or something to catch you for getting out of shield. So no matter what they do, you should try and stay one step ahead. So even if your primary read, and this is a good way of putting it, even if your primary read was not successful, you still have a secondary read and a tertiary read, and so on and so forth, all the way down to say, I didn't get exactly what I wanted, but I know that this also sets up and conditions for another link in this chain, I guess you could say. And you can continue down that path over and over again. So it's like, okay, it doesn't matter what they do. And I've had coaching sessions in the past too. I'll play against someone and they feel like it doesn't matter what they do, it's always wrong. Everything they choose to do is wrong. And it's like, well, if I was only looking for one option, most of the things that they would be doing would actually be right. So that's huge to take into consideration. If someone feels like everything that they're doing is wrong, that's how you want someone to feel when you're fighting somebody. If you can get someone to believe that everything that they're doing is wrong, it's because everything that you are covering, for the most part, has another answer right behind it ready to go. Always. Like I was saying before, guys, with the confidence in reads, I'm probably going to cover that a little bit tonight with my student, but I'm going to do stuff, and I want you guys to pay attention. If it's like, yo, how did you just know this would happen? There's a lot of situations where I didn't just know something was going to happen, and I'll just do it anyways to see what happens, right? Don't be afraid of the unknown. It's like, oh, I'm just going to run at you, then jump back, and then dash forwards and dash back, up smash, and you're going to roll into the whole thing. It's like, how did I know that I could do all those things that he'd roll? It's like, I didn't know. I just did it. Because if he rolled away from me, he can't punish me. If he jumps away, he can't punish me. If he stays in shield, he can't punish me. It's like, that's probably even more important as well. A lot of the things that a lot of players probably feel like are big risks are not that big of a risk, because only assessing it from the situation of if your opponent knows exactly what you're going to do. That's not always how it works. I'll say most of the time that's exactly how it doesn't work. 9 times out of 10, your opponent has no clue what you're going to do when you go for a very aggressive read. So even if you don't hit them, they're not right there ready to punish you all the time. I think you got to get that part out of your head too, for sure.